Hello, my name is Anita, and I'm going to explain my process for creating my animation project in Edge Animate. In this project, I wanted to illustrate the thinking process that goes into setting up goals for tracking websites or web data in Google Analytics or any other analytics software. Before you learn the technical how-to, you need to answer some basic questions about the audience and objectives of your product and how you will measure those objectives. To measure success, what indicators will you track specifically which tell you what your visitors did with your product? And what kind of value can you attach to those indicators? Since this is a pretty dry topic for most and a conceptual process, I wanted to keep it a bit fun or whimsical for my higher ed web audience. So I chose to tap into the flurry of excitement over the FIFA World Cup soccer tournament. So I capitalized on a sports metaphor of goals in soccer and goals in business web analytics. That said, I didn't want to overdo the metaphor too much either. So let me preview it for you in the browser. This idea gave me the basis of my layout. The green soccer field, midline, and the goals on either end, which I drew out and created in Photoshop using a pattern stamp texture layer and white lines and boxes. I based it loosely on images I found on Google Images. For photo credits, the soccer ball, which I animated, was clipped out of an image from Yahoo Sports World Cup Images, June 25th, 2014. The Google Doodle used in my banner was obviously clipped from google.com, their homepage, during the World Cup tournament on June 30th, 2014. Other graphic images of the goalie and forwards were borrowed from Microsoft Office clip art, and the backgrounds of those images were made transparent in Photoshop, and I saved each as a PNG file. The first part of the animation I created was the title banner, which is actually my favorite part aside from the ball. I used a font that had to be added to the library, and I had the text move from off left stage to the right, but I divided the elements so that the Google Doodle was a separate element and also the word analytics, so they could be animated apart from one another, and the doodle bouncing in from the top and analytics from the left to finish the title. I will replay that for you one more time so you can see it again. Next, I created all of the text elements, and I named them from numbers 1 to number 8 in the order of the process. I started out having the text elements separated into two parts, and then I put them back together again because it seemed to work better. And instead of having them fade in and out as I considered doing in the first place, I had them kind of bounce in similar to that snappy look in the title. I thought it was better suited to appear suddenly, and then fade out using opacity as the keyframe, fading out to 0. And each one transitions the animation to the next step in the process. They appear in a clockwise pattern, moving from one step to the next visually. One element a phrase I wanted to stand out, measuring success, I animated it to move from the right to the left across the stage in a contrasting black, and then I made it to fade out again, also using the opacity down to 0. After the text, I added the image elements of the goalie and the forwards, who appear and disappear quickly at steps 3, 5, and 7. Just as an added interest element. And this may have complicated the whole animation a bit much, but I decided to go with them instead of just cutting them for simplicity's sake. The goalie appears using display on and off keyframe and then moves quickly from left to right and bottom to top and disappears out at the back of the goal and off the stage. And the forward at 5 moves from off the stage at the bottom, then to the left across the field and disappears, fading to 0 opacity. And I also added easing to many of these elements to change up their motions in and out. The final and quite challenging element that added the visual motion to move the viewer around the circular pattern of the process is the animated soccer ball. This I converted to a symbol, hoping that would simplify the animating of it. I'm not sure it made much difference since it is a single element and not several elements pieced together. But the ball is animated using or moving over the XY grid in short timelines, and I added easing in and out with the bouncing effect. And all the while, it uses the transform property to add rotation to it. Each movement is either 180 or 360 or 540 degrees. That's depending on the distance and the quickness needed, which I think helps it have a more natural ball movement. This was really the most fun part of the piece overall, and helps to move the whole process around in a circular pattern that I needed it to. The ball finally ends the animation back at the midline at 12 o'clock. The play again button fades in, as well as a text with link at the bottom of the screen, and a play button should refresh the page to run the animation again, but I can't figure out where the error in the open action code is since it doesn't work. If I had more time, I would fix that, and from the text link below I would take the viewer to a full tutorial on how to technically set up goals in a Google Analytics account. By far the most challenging part was getting the timing right with so much going on the stage, and each element's animation had to dovetail with the next in a stair-step pattern, and I had to lengthen the entire animation over and over just to get the best effect, and each individual animation also. It's not perfect by any means, but it was entertaining, and I learned so much by trying out the various means to put things into motion. It was enjoyable to work on, even though the end product is not entirely serious and a tad bit too complicated. Thank you for listening.